Welcome. Glad to be back for another episode of Dropping Knowledge. The team got a lot of feedback on our first episode, and I want to cover a few things before we start. The current audience for this show is a mix of channel partners, like system builders and add-in card partners, and distributors and retail associates. What's unique about this show is that we can bring people from every layer of the product journey together, from the companies who create to the people that sell. Our goal is to come together so we can share, learn, and grow. Our format's still very early in stages and will be constantly evolving. So ask questions in chat. Make suggestions to your partner manager. We are listening. Feedback from the last episode was that we get more technical. So to that note, this week we're joined by a product manager from our design team to go a bit deeper than we normally would on our main topic. We're also going to try to cover fewer topics with more focus. Let's take a look at what we have in store for you. You want to hit slides? So, we're going to kick things off with Keith. He's going to give you a quick update on promotions, bundles, and deals. The team has also put together a new segment that is probably stupid, but we're going to show it to you anyway. And we'll also be graced by the presence of none other than Gerardo Delgado from our product team, who's going to go deep on NVIDIA Studio. Like every episode, of course, we'll wrap things up by showing you live, real-time gameplay. And this week, we'll be showing Control, featuring a bevy of RTX features. Let's get started.
Do you feel it? Let's do this.
All right. Ta-da! We're now joined by Keith Olson, who's going to talk a little bit about RTX It's On. Keith?
Thanks, Chris. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me back. Right after all the feedback we got, and I thought maybe you might push me out, especially with the mention of the more technical topics. But it sounds like we're going to have somebody a little bit later.
We brought somebody special
yes,
for that, Keith.
Okay, good. That's probably why I'm cut down to more of a 5 to 10 minute mix here. So,
yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to thank Chris for having this. I'm not sure if you guys all are aware of this, but we actually are situated in Chris's living room here. So he's got a great studio at his place. Hopefully this is probably the last one that we'll do here. We have a new studio potentially in the works.
Hey,
yeah.
Funny enough,
yeah,
we have officially secured space on campus.
Nice.
We will be building out our actual production studio over the next couple months.
Okay, great. So, hey, good job on the opening. I think I like to just mention one last time that the crowd here is a little bit different than a lot of podcasts, right? The reality of it is that we aren't looking for quantity. We're looking for everyone in the world to join this thing. It's about quality, and it's about the channel. A lot of topics that I discuss with a lot of our partners every day, but this is just a good way for us to get it all out there at once. So I really appreciate the time on this. This is a very valuable tool for me to be able to talk to them about this kind of stuff, even if it's only for 5 minutes, because it's going to help us all in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know what? We set you up with that awesome new RTX.
Know,
it's on
awesome.
Sizzle trailer. We softballed that to you, so you should be good here. So
the trailer itself, I mean, if everybody noticed, those are all new assets. So we've gone through a new refresh of RTX It's On. We all realize that RTX is pushing ahead. The reality of it is that there's a lot of excitement around RTX. We've got game titles top to bottom. We've announced stuff that we're doing with Minecraft, which I consider, I guess that's on the lower end of RTX content, but then we've got everything at the top. We've got a roadmap of games that are coming, and I think most gamers today are going to make sure that they're prepared for RTX. I don't think there's a lot of gamers out there spending $300 and $400 on a graphics card and a brand new PC that is just going to decide that they don't want RTX.
I think it's absolutely a consideration, especially when you look at the fact that the most anticipated titles for 2019 and 2020 have ray tracing in it.
Exactly. So it's going to take some time. I mean, I like to I speak to a lot of you guys about what's happening with RTX. You know, I like to get honest answers about whether or not everybody believes that RTX is here and ready to go. I did talk to Jacob at EVGA, and one of the points that he made, hey Jacob, is that he kind of feels like right now anybody that's building a new PC, you're probably going to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and future-proof myself and buy an RTX card. Sure. But it's still not quite there where people are out there saying, you know what, I have a card today, it's fine, but now because of RTX content, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my PC because of it. So I feel like we're really close to that. Right?
Cyberpunk will fix that.
Right.
Yeah.
And also I hope Call of Duty might help in that way a little bit as
Absolutely.
well. So all the great games that are coming. So anyways, I want to thank all of you for taking advantage of all this, the new assets. Hopefully everyone's working hard to make sure the campaigns are going to get refreshed. I think it would be good for our consumers and gamers to see all these new assets. And more importantly, let's just keep telling them about all the great titles that are coming, because we all know that content is what sells.
Yeah, huge props to the partners. You've done a great job of refreshing and updating your site. I actually want to make a point on why this is so important for sales reps and for people actually out in the field selling the products. Ray tracing is available on all GPUs RTX 2060 and up, and it has a rapidly growing library of titles. So you're going to get a lot of people coming in this holiday season either looking for a computer or for a laptop or maybe even a GPU. And RTX is absolutely a key selling feature for this holiday season because of that. You have an opportunity to intercept some really amazing customers that are looking to take the next step in their gaming journey, and the time is now.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're real excited. Just keep telling the story and making sure everybody understands the difference. And it obviously does make a big difference. It's not just something we're talking about here. And obviously that's proven by all the content that's coming.
Definitely. So Call of Duty, we got that thing going on. Let's go ahead and transition to slides.
Call of Duty bundle is right now. So available until November 18th. So let's make sure that everybody understands that. Let's plaster that bundle over every, RTX SKU that's out there. It's available on RTX 2060 through RTX 2080 Ti. Mm-hmm. So let's take advantage of that. I mean, it's a great title. Desktops, laptops, and the cards themselves, of course. And it's all of our participating partners in the channel are taking advantage of this. So hopefully everyone is pushing it. We've got retailers, we've got e-tailers, we've got even the distributors are able to participate in this.
If you work at Best Buy, if you work at Micro Center, Memory Express, if you work at any major retailer, you guys are selling this. So be aware of it. And especially when you consider the next thing we're about to talk about, there's going to be some great deals for gamers this holiday season.
Absolutely. And one last thing on this title is that we're going to have titles to give away. And I think that there's often debate out there as whether or not a tier 1 title is actually going to make a difference in a sale. And I think that it does make a difference in a sale, but it's also just a nice add-on. The reality of it is when they get that new card, they want to be able to play a game that's got RTX available to them. So being able to show off the tech is really the key to this bundle. And so that's the reason why we plan on continuing to do bundles with great games moving forward. So don't ever think that's going to go away.
It's only going to get better.
Yeah.
All right,
cool. So what about the product itself? So the GeForce RTX Super was actually the 3 new products that we launched. Things are going very, very well. I think I could probably call out that the 2070 Super is the clear leader at the moment as kind of the go-to price point and most desired card for the performance.
Honestly,
right?
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. But let's not forget that the entry level to RTX gaming is actually the 2060, which is a non-super card. Mm-hmm. So we've got with a combination of these 3 new super cards that are out there. And then when you add in the models that were previously non-super cards, whether it's the 2060, which is still a living card and planned in the future, there's 2070s and 2080s that are available out there. So there's really a price point for pretty much every gamer, right? Whether you're willing to spend it on super or you just go back to one of the other ones, because the performance is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be clear, the 2060 and the 2070 will be replaced by the super versions eventually.
No, the 2080 and the 2070 will be replaced. The 2060 lives on. Yeah, the 2060 lives on.
I know nothing.
It's kind of a nice entry level into RTX, right?
Okay.
So that's a nice price point. But there is still availability on everything. So if you haven't noticed, the super cards did, especially here in the U.S., right? This is our market. In the U.S., we had a little problem sort of jump-starting the supply of all these super products. And it has a lot to do with the tariffs, right? If anybody was aware, all of our board partners basically had to start building product in Taiwan, as opposed to China.
hey guys, I'm going to need you to stop what you're doing, take all that stuff you're working on, move it to a different country. It's not going to cost anything. Don't worry about it.
So the cost was there, but there's also been some growing pains. We don't need to get into the details, but the reality of it is that the stock lagged a little bit. I feel like we're pretty much all caught up, especially on 2080S, 2060S. 2070S is about, I'd say our pipeline's maybe about 90% full.
Cool.
So that's the great news, is that we're ready for the holidays with all of our super product. And while we waited, or while we didn't, while we were sort of trying to get all the partners to get their product over here, we actually had the other stuff still available, right? There was still 2080s, 2070s, and of course the 2060. So like I said, top to bottom, the stack looks great. Some of the partners out there have been doing a great job of taking advantage of every price point. I mean, I like to make a call out from Ray over at Newegg. So Ray, if you're out there, I mean, what an amazing job Ray's done of bringing in the old, bringing in the new, placing POs, getting it in stock, and making sure that everybody is, has availability. Right. So the partners are just, such a great partner, especially getting through this transition.
Speaking of partners, we got a bunch of people in chat. Well, we're going to give some quick shout outs here. We've got, looks like Dan L there. Mary, hi, we see you. We got EVGA in the chat. We've got Digital Storm in the chat. Origin PC in the chat. We've got Stiger Dynamics, EVGA. We got Ron Reed from Main Gear up in the chat. Eric Estrada, he's here too. All right, this is awesome. So we're going to cover something next that's new.
Yeah, that should be good.
It's a pretty stupid idea, and I probably shouldn't do it, but we're going to do it anyway. So let's go ahead and close our slides. Go ahead and bring up the main camera. The name of our next segment, it's a mouthful. 5 PC gaming things I found somewhat interesting on the internet this week. All right, on that note, let's pull up the content. So, I don't know if you heard of this, but there's this new game called Untitled Goose Game. I've seen this about maybe 2 weeks ago. The whole point of this game is to be a jerk. You're a goose that runs around and messes with people, steals their stuff, breaks their things, and quacks at them. So if you feel like taking frustration on your coworkers out in the form of a virtual duck or goose, goose, let's be specific. This is your game. So is there anybody in mind in our office that you think of when you see this? Or no. I actually am a pretty happy person in general. Okay. Funny enough, #1 game on Switch for the last 2 weeks. Wow. Now, will this have RTX? We'll see how ray tracing. We're gonna need you to get out and make that deal happen, okay, Keith? Yeah. Get to work on that. Let us know how it goes. Also, Destiny 2, no longer on Battle.net, now on Steam. Brand new X-Pack, super fun content. They redid most of the mechanics for how progression and leveling in the game works. I've been playing it, super fun. Highly suggest you check it out. Nice. Another thing that I found pretty interesting, because I love all types of games, not just the big AAAs, but everything in between. Monster Hunter World has officially shipped 14 million units globally, and that doesn't even account for the fact that the new X-Pack is not available to PC gamers until January 2020. So huge accomplishment by Capcom. Good for you. Congratulations. That's nice. They're making good games these days. So Chris, how does that compare to like a big title? I mean, Call of Duty is going to outship that. Yeah. Right? But for any title that's not Call of Duty to hit these numbers, super impressive. Good. We like this. Impressive. We like this. Who's heard of Red Dead Redemption 2? I've heard of it. I'm excited. It's coming to PC. There are a group of people already working on mods for it, and the game's not even out yet. Wow. It's a group called 5M. They currently do a framework for GTA 5 mods. They have a pretty good idea of what the engine already looks like, and they're already hard at work on bringing you mods to make you the rootinest, tootinest cow person in the Wild West. And I saved the best for last year for you. Yeah. I'm sorry to everyone on the internet right now. But did you know that KFC made a video game? Did not know that. What do you think KFC's video game would be about, if you had to guess? Popeyes. Chicken? Pretty sure they're going to need a license for that. No, that's a terrible guess. All right, anyway, KFC made a dating simulator called I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator. You get the opportunity to woo the Colonel and make chicken at the same time, I guess. I'm not going to go any further on this one because I'll get myself in trouble. Have you actually tried that game? No, but it's available for free right now on Steam. You can go download it. All right. They really did a number on the Colonel. So we're going to end that there. Well, let me ask one last question. Sure. So what you're saying is on a Sunday, Chris, you'd prefer to play that game than watch NFL, as an example. Is that one of those things that's like a sport with a ball, and then there's people that, like, they carry the ball?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it just...
You talking to me about sports is
Yeah.
like me talking to you about video games.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't really
maybe
get
not
it.
that bad. If you're asking that question, I don't think it's that bad. But
That's true.
yeah.
I'll definitely check. I'm going to check out Untitled
Yeah.
Goose Game. Anyway, we're rambling now and we're
Yeah.
wasting
All
time.
right.
So we're going to get back on track. Hang tight. We're going to switch scenes, switch out our guest. Go ahead and throw. I'll be right back. We are back with the illustrious Gerardo Delgado.
Hey guys, my name is Gerardo. I'm the product manager for NVIDIA Studio, and I want to show you today what NVIDIA Studio is all about.
All right, let's go ahead and hit the slides, and I'm going to give him the keyboard.
So to set the stage, there's been an increasing number of creators around the world. We count them at 14 million, and they still grow. The reason for this growth is because there's been a massive democratization of creative tools. They've become a lot easier to use, a lot more accessible. And so we have a new spur, a wave of online creators now popping up. People that want to have their own YouTube channel, that want to do maybe Twitch and live streaming, etc. We also have a very large number of freelancers, people that no longer need to work for someone. They can just have their own gig, they can work for themselves, they can take on jobs, and they can sustain themselves with this. And they love that flexibility. And of course, as you guys know, content creation is as popular as ever. Netflix, HBO, they're all outputting tremendous amounts of work, of pieces out there. So the number of studios just keeps growing, and we keep having more and more professional content out there. But not all creators are the same, right? We've tried to lay here a bit of the overview of what the creative landscape is like. So at the top, we have the most demanding use cases: a 3D animator, design or an architect, a visualization expert, that are going to want to create super realistic environments. They're going to want to ray trace them. They're going to do things that are super complex. And so they need tremendous amounts of horsepower. These people before would need a render farm. They would need to actually edit their content, probably in low quality, and then just leave it overnight to render. Then we also have the video segment. So we have video editors and live streamers. And in both cases, video takes a lot of resources. It needs a lot of horsepower as well. For these people, for video editors especially, time is key. Problem for them is the slower editing is, the more time they take to do a video, the more time it will take them to finish it, and they can't take another gig. For live streamers, usually it's limitations. It's you're live streaming, you're doing everything live, and you cannot push the best quality out there because you just didn't have the hardware for it. And then even if we go down to things that were more traditionally 2D, like graphic design, what we're seeing now is that there's been a massive push in graphic design from 2D to 3D. So we're starting to see a lot of computational power required there. And even in photography, if you're a photographer, I just spent the weekend in North Cal doing some pictures, for example. And yeah, if you're editing one picture, you probably don't need much. But when you take 100 pictures, 200 pictures, and suddenly you want to do effects, you want to enhance them, etc., suddenly all of those effects to a large number of high-resolution pictures start stacking up. So you also want some power to help you in that process.
You should enjoy your vacation, not spend time in your hotel editing photos. This will help.
My wife tells me that. So at NVIDIA, to help address all of these things that creators had, we came up with a push called NVIDIA Studio. This is an initiative to help creators, and it's based on 3 pillars. The first one is using the most advanced GPUs that we have available right now to tackle the computational problems that we have. The second one was to create specific drivers for creators and advanced SDKs that would let us include our technology into the creative apps so that they can do really advanced effects with, for example, AI. And the third thing we did is we went to the app creators, to the app developers, and we helped accelerate their apps to run great on GPU. So let's go into a bit more detail into each of these. The first step was leveraging our amazing RTX GPUs. As you guys know, we launched them a year ago, and these cards are great for several reasons. One is they bring ray tracing, and ray tracing is I can't tell you enough how much of a leap forward this is. It brings that authentic quality that there's a reason why the Marvel movies are so realistic. They're all ray traced. It brings that level of creation where you're just so impressed by the content. But ray tracing is only a part of the RTX GPU. The second part of that is that they have tensor cores. And with tensor cores, we can do AI. We can do a lot of AI-powered workflows, which before it was impossible, it would have been too slow to run. And together with those, what they also bring is ultra-quality video, which we'll show you in a second.
Hold on, I have a question. So when you watch movies, and it's like a CSI crime drama, and they look at the blurry photo, and they go, enhance. That used to be BS. Is that a real thing now?
I'll show you in a sec. We have an example of that.
Oh man, the future is here. All right, go for it.
So first, let's delve a bit into ray tracing. So if you are an artist and you wanted to work with ray tracing, what you would normally have to do is work with a really low resolution image and then render it post. That meant that you were creating something that you didn't know how it was going to look. If you wanted to ray trace it in real time in a small image, like the example we have here on a CPU, we can see how long it will take. However, with the RTX GPU, you can see how you can edit in real time and denoise in real time. It just changes completely the game. And this example that we're showing, you can run this on a laptop, this was the part that blew our design team away, is they've always felt chained to a desk because they needed their super powerful rigs. Yeah. And with an RTX GPU on a laptop, they could do all of this and be mobile.
So this was captured on a laptop?
Yeah, this example is on a laptop.
That's insane.
We have here, for example, some of the perf comparisons. You can see versus a super strong laptop with an i7 with an 8750, the RTX 2080 or the 5000 on a laptop are 14 times faster. Which is
14 times faster.
It's ridiculous. So we're very excited about what this will enable for creators. And you're seeing that how ray tracing is now being adopted by more and more renderers. So this is going to start hitting everyone in the design community. But if we move forward, as we said, the second aspect to the RTX GPU was the tensor cores. And the tensor cores allow you to do AI. Why is AI so important? Because a lot of the creative workflow nowadays is just repetitive. If, for example, as I was doing this weekend, right, you just take a lot of pictures and suddenly you need to go through all of them, enhance them, retouch them. You need to find the right shot for you. It takes a lot of time. Yeah. If you're doing any kind of video and you're masking, that kind of mask, what someone would have to do is they would have to go point by point, do the outline of that person frame by frame. So that's just absurd. And then if you're doing, for example, animation, what you need to do with those models is you need to animate each of the members of the model. So you're doing an arm, you need to show it how to move. And if you have different characters in that scene, you need to animate each of them. It's just painful.
So instead of having to manually trace the same thing 60 times for 1 second of footage, an AI mask can now just do that for you.
Yes. And basically what before required a full studio of people and probably months of work, now you can do it really, really quickly with AI. So let me show you some examples. Some of the things that we're helping our partners accelerate is up resolution. So the example you were giving on CSI, that's exactly true. Before, that was kind of a made-up thing for Hollywood. Now we can actually do an advanced AI network that will create new pixels.
I love it when we take made-up things for Hollywood and make them real.
I know.
It's my favorite.
And I can't stress enough how important the AI address is, because one thing is just stretching out content and then trying to fix the quality. What this is doing is that it's learning what a pixel would be. It's trying to predict what that new pixel would look like and creating those. You can do photo enhancements. I really like the content over in painting, because what it allows you to do is you can remove people from a picture. So I, for example, don't tend to realize that maybe I'm taking a lovely picture with my wife and then suddenly I have a dog on a corner or things like that. So that allows me to then fix it in post.
But where are the memes going to come from if you take them out?
I know. I'm afraid we're killing those. And then you guys may have seen this. We had a piece of research called Gogan. Gogan is an AI.
This is cool.
I know. It's an AI-assisted sketching. What it does is that you can draw something very, very roughly. You can just tell it, I want to draw a mountain like in the picture you have there, and it will infer how you want it to look like. And this is actually, I think, at the core of what we're trying to do. We're trying to use AI to accelerate the process of a creator so that they can use their time with creativity. If you're trying to sketch something out quickly, the problem is that sketching something with good quality used to take a lot of time, to the point where maybe you didn't want to even sketch it and you wanted to go for the final thing, not to waste time.
Prototyping new concepts in art takes a huge amount of time in the development cycle for any piece of content, whether it's a movie or a video game.
Yep.
I mean, probably at least the first 30% of the whole project is just previs.
Yeah. And then with this technology, we basically speed that up a lot so that the creator can focus on fixing up the scene, seeing how he wants it to or she wants it to look like in the final scene, and spending time on where they add value. Yeah. So I have an example of where...
Actually, let me pause you really quickly. So we had a question from 48P great name. Content-aware in-painting that can be done in videos for removal of crap? Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So that's a great question, actually. Let me show you the example I brought. So one of the first tabs that we worked with a lot was DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is, I believe, the second most popular video editor right now. If you guys haven't tried it for video editing, I personally love it because I'm not a really advanced user and it just gives me everything I need. But it does a lot of really advanced use cases. For example, it does frame interpolation. That means that if you want to create slow motion content, it will create the frames in the middle. Normally, if you just slow down content, it will look really bad. With this, it will actually look super smooth.
So no gaps in between frames. It's actually generating artificial frames based on the AI to fill the gaps.
Yep.
That's cool.
We can also do super resolution, so we can do the same thing that we were discussing. But let me show you one that they have that's really cool. They can do face detection, where they improve lips. Or, the first example was the one you were saying before. It can remove an object. So in a video, we can select the object, we can take it out, and now we have the video without the object in between.
I can't believe it works. It looks amazing.
The one I was saying before, it can detect a face. So by detecting a face, you can then enhance, for example, the eye color. You can enhance lips. You can add more dramatic effects to a scene very, very quickly without having to go and do the mask in every frame.
This is huge. This is going to save so many people time.
Yep. And the best part is, even if you want to do this with super high quality, this basically gets you 95% there. Then a professional editor could come and do little tweaks.
Yeah.
This is the slow motion one I talked to you about. We're really excited to see this. And again, this is like one of the best implementations we've seen, but we expect a lot more to come.
Amazing.
So moving on then from AI to video, as you guys may be aware, there's now a trend in professional video editing and film to just record at higher resolutions. Now, people think that it's because they want to just cater to 8K TV owners, which, as we all know, it's not that many people.
It gives you they are tools and options for when you're producing content.
Right, exactly. What it does is, if you're on set filming something like, for example, this shot, you had to rent a helicopter, right? What's expensive was the helicopter and getting everyone there and stuff.
You don't have your own helicopter, Gerardo?
No, not right now. But what you don't know is you kind of have an idea on when the director is going to want to shoot, but you don't know on the final editing what he's going to use or she's going to use. Mm-hmm. So in this example, what you can do is you can then crop the scene. You can say, okay, we're going to focus on that, and we can still show 4K content. We can zoom. We can downscale if we wanted to increase quality. Or, for example, from the same shot, you can do pans. So now, for example, from one shot that maybe was even an image, we suddenly have video.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, they've been shooting in film for a long time in ultra high resolution on film, but film is expensive. It's hard to manage. It's hard to produce. And it has a lifespan on it. And with digital content, until now, with this technology, you had to shoot the shot you needed. If you shot in 4K, you could do some of this stuff. But with 8K, you have so much real estate, so much screen space that you can create shots within the same shot that you already have that you wouldn't be able to do unless you were using film. It's all available digital now.
So that's why they love filming with higher resolutions. Now, the problem is using that content is extremely hard. 8K is a really large format. We have, especially if you want to edit with RAW formats where you have more flexibility, you're going to need huge computational needs. That means a couple of things. One is most people ended up having to create proxies to just degrade the quality of the 8K frame to be able to edit it, which is not what you want to do because you had a great frame in the beginning. Yeah. And second, to be able to edit it when you're just scrolling through a video in a video editor, they wouldn't be able to play it. So they have to normally decrease the resolution, which again wasn't the point of filming with higher resolutions, because you want to appreciate the details. You want to know if something that you're trying to hint in a scene is going to be visible or not.
Yeah.
So what we did is we did accelerations on the RTX GPUs. We have an example of performance here that we took on a Titan. 2080 Ti is more or less on par with this. And you can just see the huge difference. Even if you had a crazy Core i9 CPU, we're doing multiples of the speed. Even on professional Xeons with 36 cores, you're still more than double the frame rate. And what's cool is we can actually do, for example, 6K video editing on laptops. Any RTX Studio laptop is able of doing that with a 2080 on it.
That used to take a seriously powerful workstation with a debayer built in and all sorts of different things.
Yeah,
Now it
exactly.
just works on a laptop.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we think this is great for video editing, but of course, video nowadays also has become a lot about live broadcasting.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of the content is just live. So for live content, what we did on the Turing GPUs, on RTX GPUs, is that we made those extremely fast for live streaming because they have a hardware encoder on them. That means that if you're trying to do anything, for example, run a game, or you're running a show, or imagine you're just designing on Maya and you want to show your audience how you're designing on Maya, you need your CPU and your GPU to run that. So with this hardware encoder that sits within the RTX GPU, you offload all the encoding requirements to that, and you get way better performance in your system. For example, here we're comparing against a really powerful i7, a top-of-the-line PC. If you try to output similar quality to what the NVIDIA encoder does, which is slightly, X2645 is slightly below, but we'll say for these purposes it's similar, you're getting 56% more FPS.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous.
As a serious skeptic and someone who, I think I can confidently say this, helped the product team understand live streaming better from multiple layers, I've always used dual PCs because I felt that you just couldn't get to the quality that I wanted. But I've seen this in person now, and it's the real deal. You can play games and live stream at the same time at high quality on a single PC, on a single GPU. And Intel RTX, it really wasn't possible in my opinion.
Yep.
So, good job, buddy. Good job.
Thank you. And you can see the CPU utilization. Suddenly, you're not using it anymore. That's just the very minimum that streaming software would need. Your game doesn't even notice the stream anymore, and you don't drop a single frame.
Mm-hmm.
But this is only half of the story, right? You want great performance, but you also want great quality. So what the Turing chip did is, in that Turing NVENC, in the RTX encoder, we have a lot of new features that increase the quality a lot. We have rate distortion optimization. We have multi-frame preferencing. What all of these do is that they allow the encoder to make smart decisions on what to encode and how. That way, if you suddenly have a scene with a lot of movement, where normally you would have artifacts and the scene wouldn't look good, the encoder knows what to trigger, knows what to focus on, knows, for example, if something's on the background and it can degrade it because you're not going to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And that allows you to push extremely high quality, even versus a dual PC.
So basically, we can produce the same quality image at a lower bit rate, or produce a superior quality image at the same bit rate.
Yes, exactly.
That's amazing.
And but kind of taking some of the learnings that we had from this studio journey that we've gotten ourselves into, we also knew that live streamers want to do more.
Yeah.
If we gave them very good performance and very good quality, their streams would be awesome. But live streaming, like the one we're doing now, it's also about capturing the audience, about engaging them.
Yeah.
And so for that, we came out with something called the RTX Broadcast Engine. What this is a set of advanced SDKs that allow you to do really cool effects for broadcasting. They're actually in early access right now for select partners, but we will be releasing an open beta soon to app developers, and they'll be able to integrate this into more programs.
So we're going to play a video right now. This is the only asset in the whole stream that I didn't check the audio levels on. So go ahead and hit play and see what happens. You should be able to drive the system while we're done if it's too loud. There it is. So that does some pretty cool stuff. You can literally make yourself look like Starry Night.
Yep. I do want to clarify, just to debunk the myth, I am not the character on the right on the AR scene, the one that has glasses and kind of looks like me. Anyhow.
What a disappointment. I feel totally let down now.
But to close it off, what we're trying to show here is that thanks to the RTX GPU, we're able to drive a lot of improvements to many of these use cases.
Mm-hmm.
For video editors, the difference in, for example, encoding in the most popular video editor in Premiere Pro is nuts. It's an 11x. Graphic designers were, as we saw before, they're starting to have a lot of effects that require more computational power. We can give you 60% more power there. For animators and 3D artists, like, this is just a no question.
The line between like 2D artists and 3D artists, especially with the power of these applications, the lines are blurring.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when you're looking at 2D animation or cartoon that you might see that's fully produced, it's probably actually 3D.
Yeah. And then, Maya, as we showed you guys the live example, is just night and day. It's just the difference between editing on what you're going to see on the final scene and having to infer what you think it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
For effects in Photoshop, even, we have 90% performance increases. And for broadcasting, like, this has been revolutionary. It has literally been the ability for many people to be able to stream. Whereas before, a laptop wouldn't be able to do it, or maybe they had an older system and they wouldn't be able to do it. Now they'll all be able to broadcast with great quality thanks to the RTX GPUs.
I mean, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it's a huge number of streamers.
I do.
What?
We have over 10 million streamers now in the world, and the number keeps growing.
10 million NVENC streamers?
No, streamers in general.
Oh, streamers in general.
NVENC is a huge portion of those.
Okay. All right. He's being cagey. We're going to move on.
So, we closed down the first pillar of what the NVIDIA Studio push was created on, the RTX GPU. Let me go into the second pillar, the drivers and SDKs. So as you guys know, there's a difference between a gamer and a creator. And what research shows is that many times these overlap. A lot of gamers also do video editing or will do some content editing. And a lot of creators will wind up with just, booting up a game and having some fun with the goose.
Yep.
But fundamentally, they have some differences. And to summarize, the main one is that a creator needs a stability. They want to have fun in their free time, but what they need is to be able to create, either because it's their main hobby or because it's their source of income.
Yep.
And so you just can't jeopardize your source of income. That means that you want maximum stability. You want to do less updates to your system. So what we did is as you guys know, we are amazing at doing drivers. It's one of the pillars of NVIDIA. We're known for actually employing more software engineers than hardware engineers.
It's true.
Because drivers is at the very core of what we do. And we took that expertise and we wanted to apply it to creators. So what we did is we created the NVIDIA Studio driver. These drivers, what they do is they focus on stability. Every major app is tested on them thoroughly to make sure that it runs perfectly, that it runs on several use cases, that it will run on multi-GPU, it will run on whatever you guys are doing in a creative app. That meant also that we wanted to align them not to game releases, but to the major releases of the creative app updates. So, for example, there's a new version of, let's say, Premiere Pro coming out. That's when you want to do the driver update. And we also tested the new functionalities that are coming out, such as the ones that we show for DaVinci Resolve, on them extensively to make sure that the moment they release, you guys have an amazing experience.
And we even test that driver on older versions of the software.
Yes. It's tested on older versions, on older GPUs as well. It's the test case is amazing.
We're doing everything we can to make sure that if there's an issue with your computer on an update, the driver is not it.
Exactly. And so let me explain also a difference between the Game Ready driver and the NVIDIA Studio driver.
This is a good one. I've had a lot of questions from people about this.
So what we did is, once you have all that expertise built in, once you have all of those optimizations to the driver, you don't want to gate those only to the people that choose the Studio driver, because as we said, many people game, but maybe they also do content creation on the side.
Yeah.
So what we did is, whenever the drivers align, we will also deploy the updates that we have on the NVIDIA Studio driver to the GRD. So on that date, they both get the same updates. However, there will be other updates in between where the GRDs, the Game Ready drivers, will go ahead and they will do updates for the newest game. You have Red Dead Redemption coming to PC, then they update the driver for that. What happens? The testing cycles cannot be as extensive for those because they literally take weeks to finish. So then you have a potential stability issue in between. The NVIDIA Studio driver gives you that. It's if you stay on that path, you're always going to be on the branch that was thoroughly tested, that gives you that stability, and you always get, as soon as possible, the updates to creator apps.
So you'll get the game updates, just not as fast.
Yep.
And the releases are going to be aligned to major applications, which means that you're going to get more stability, but you can still play games.
Yeah, exactly. And so, for example, at our latest driver release at IFA in September, and we had optimizations for Cinema 4D, Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, the ones that you guys already know and that you probably saw. So we're really excited about this. But the second part of that pillar was drivers was really important, but the other one was SDKs. And people don't normally get to see this as often, but what we do is we create a lot of really advanced SDKs that enable an app creator to integrate really advanced features like the frame interpolation, so you can do slow motion into the wrap. What was really exciting to me is this is one of the technologies that was adopted the quickest by the ecosystem.
This is a who's who list.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people called us for this, asked us for help to integrate. We have over 200 apps that are now GPU accelerated that will run great on GPU, but we even have 40 that are using specifically RTX technology, either ray tracing or AI. So, and this list keeps growing. So we're really excited to see the uptick on this and see what features that they're going to keep popping up, because we just have some of them there. You're going to start seeing more AI use cases come up soon.
Oh, yeah.
So with this, we cover the three pillars, right? We cover the RTX GPUs, we cover the studio drivers and the SDKs, and we cover the applications. But we also identified that there was a last issue remaining on the journey of a creator. Many creators are not technical. They're amazing artists, and that's what they do. They don't want to lose themselves learning about technology, learning about what to buy, etc. That meant that when they had to buy a new laptop or a new desktop, maybe they didn't know what to get. So to help them with that, we came out with an initiative called RTX Studio. This now encompasses laptops and desktops. And what it does is that it selects the best laptops and desktops we can find from the top OEMs in the world, and it will batch them. It will give them a specific batch of recognition that will say that it's a great laptop or desktop for creation. It's because it has really advanced specs. It's because it's been thoroughly tested by the OEM, and we also tested ourselves.
So we physically get these officially spec laptops and test them in-house ourselves to make sure that what the manufacturer says is what we say too.
Yep. So we want to make sure that they run tremendously well. And I'm personally really excited about this initiative. It's funny when you show this stuff to creators that maybe have been in the industry for years and they're using either their old laptop or they had a Mac. You suddenly show them what these laptops or desktops are capable of, and they go nuts. There are things here that are just transformational. And usually people will tell you, look, I know what I'm doing. I'm fine with what I am. And at the moment they see, they're like, oh God, I'm doing this wrong. I need to change.
Totally wrong. You could be saving so much time.
So, in summary, what the NVIDIA Studio initiative is about is offering you those amazing GPUs that we had that were coming in great desktops and laptops. Now we also have the RTX Studio systems to build specific creator systems that will work great. And they're supported by our studio drivers. They have amazing SDKs that go into apps, and we have over 200 apps that are accelerated for GPUs.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, the amount of work that's gone into Studio in such a short period of time to bring, I mean, really an idea of support. Kind of, it's a promise to the customer that these products are going to function the way that we say they will. They're going to be updated and as stable as possible, as often as we can. And the fact we're even helping develop new products to push this even further, it's something I'm super proud to see because we focus on gaming so much. And I think that there's a lot of people that play games that they do other things like create too. So the fact that we are able to support, two communities within one person, makes me super happy to see. So this is fantastic work you guys are doing. We're really happy you guys are kicking ass.
Thank you.
Awesome. So if you want to learn more about NVIDIA Studio, they should go to NVIDIA.com creators.
Yes. You have all the information there. And also you guys can ping us. You can talk to your partner managers, and we can also give you more information.
Definitely. Well, as you know, we finish every stream with live gameplay, live real-time rendered gameplay. So this week, we're going to show Control.
I want to see this one.
It's amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and close the slides and launch the game. So don't switch over to the game scene until I get the game fully loaded. Otherwise, we will get a signal loss. So we are going to go ahead and load this up. Just one moment while we click the buttons. What's that? 48 Peon Shroud now uses Predator? Yeah, I believe he does have an Acer Predator sponsorship. Let's see what else is happening in chat. PNY Technologies. This is great to see at TwitchCon. It was. Gerardo and I actually worked on the TwitchCon show and story, and man, it was the feedback we got from that show was fantastic.
It was actually really great to see the impact it made on app developers. We had all the major app developers come by, ask us to see the technology, ask us to know the integration plans, and get their hands on the SDKs. And we're just going to keep ramping it up.
Digital Storm says, very informative. Thanks for dropping the knowledge. I believe that one goes to Gerardo this time. I'm clearly just color commentary. The game is loaded up. Let's go ahead and switch over to Control. I'm going to show about 10 minutes. I'm really just going to ramble and gush about this game because this game is like, I don't know if you like Resident Evil. It's not quite as much of a horror game as Resident Evil is. There's no zombies in it. I would say there's fewer jump scares, but this game is all about building suspense and tension. And to me, it's like Resident Evil and the X-Files had a baby, Gerardo. and this is that baby, and its name is Control. So I'm about 5 hours into the game now, and I've just been, first off, I would say the thing I'm most blown away by in this game is obviously the reflections, but also DLSS. I am shocked at how good DLSS looks. So right now, I'm gonna just go ahead and ramble off some settings that we're running. First off, all the settings are maxed out. Full max settings, highest possible settings for ray tracing. I do want to go ahead and cover the ray tracing features that are available in this game. So we have ray traced reflections, something that is new to games and is frankly one of the biggest difference makers I've seen. Ray traced transparent reflections. We're going to get more into that, but basically what that means is that you can see through glass and it will reflect what's happening in front of the glass at the same time. Ray traced indirect diffuse lighting, so when something bounces, that fall off, that soft glow. Amazing. Ray trace contact shadows, so objects are going to look like they're floating, less like they're floating in the environment. It brings more grounding. And even the debris that you create by using your supernatural powers casts its own shadows, has its own reflections, and has direct contact shadows and indirect diffuse lighting. An insane amount of tech packed in here. But what really blows me away is that we are looking at and running this game in 2560 by 1440, but it is using DLSS to upscale a 960p image to look as good. I did a lot of comparison between the DLSS version and the stock 1440p render. There's not very much difference. It looks so close and so good. So we're just going to go ahead and start running around and looking at stuff because it is pretty staggering. So the first thing that I want to point out is that you tend to look down in games a lot to try and orient yourself. And in this game, you get so much beautiful feedback because of the way that reflections work. And the whole computer just froze. Hang tight one moment. Go ahead and bring back up the cameras. We had a technical difficulty. I played this game for 5 hours yesterday, and this did not happen. So we're just going to give the PC a quick restart. Thanks for your patience. This will only take one moment. Bad computer.
I'm just going to say, from someone that has been doing demos for a bit now, this just tends to happen.
It does.
Last time we had a live streaming demo, we ran a PC for 14 hours straight. We then we started them, etc. We went live and it failed in the first 5 minutes. And it was like, how?
Can you push the power button on that one right there? Push again. There we go. It's thinking about it. Yeah, we ran this system in test for like 10 hours yesterday. I played the game for 5 hours and this happened. So
classic.
Apologies. It happens. If this is our biggest problem today,
we'll be fine.
We're in great shape. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're going to get back into gameplay in just a moment. Oh, we got a BIOS. That's a good sign. Always encouraging.
You want to address any questions in the chat?
Let's see if there's anybody asking questions here. Mary P said that avatar does resemble you.
I know. It's kind of concerning. I didn't notice that when we published the video.
48 Peon says that Gerardo did influence the creator and made it look like him, and that's the story he's spreading. Digital Storm says, oof. I agree. What else do we got? All right, that looks like it for questions for the moment. The computer is back up. I'm relaunching the game. This is going to work this time. The scary part is every time something like this happens, I mean, sometimes games just crash, I immediately want to take my whole computer apart and be like, what happened? Why are you misbehaving? How did I mistreat you? Did I say something wrong to you? That's not usually the case. I whisper sweet nothings to my computers. They do a good job. So we're going to upload to the cloud, and the game will be launching here in just a second. We're going to play the DirectX 12 version. Schrodinger's principle of RTX. That's absolutely right. It always works until you open it up and actually use it. The game is launching. Looks like it's just trying to stabilize. You're going to be good, computer. You're going to do a good job. Otherwise, I'm taking you apart all the way today. Sometimes you got to motivate it with a little fear. And that's absolutely right. What is it? Marco Macias says, second the stream ends, it will never lock up again. And that's absolutely true. Okay, we're loaded back in. I'm just going to start at my save. We're going to get right back into where we were. Should be good right now. Thanks for your patience, everyone, and apologies for the technical issues. We will, I'm excited to get our studio space. Oh, hold on a second. It's doing the bug again. Gotta restart one more time. Not the computer, just the game. When we get our studio space, we will actually have the opportunity to test way more and do much, much more thorough testing in a place that is not my living room. So that's going to be exciting. All right, we're going to give it one more try. And if this doesn't work, I will apologize profusely and end the stream.
Can I just say, though, your living room is really impressive. Like, this studio is way better than the one I use in my lab.
We can do something about that, Gerardo.
I know. Also, I'm really used to rebooting in my lab. When you're testing new stuff is when we have a lot of reboots there.
When I personally stream games, I mean, some of my coworkers can attest to this who also stream. I'll spend more time setting up and testing the game sometimes than I actually do playing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if it's a game I just want to check out, I might spend 2.5 or 3 hours getting the settings just right to only play it for an hour on stream and figure out that maybe it wasn't a game that I want to play. It's, once you know what good looks like, it's a curse. And you're constantly in the pursuit of good. Jorge says, control with RTX is awesome. I agree. It's still, let me test something. I apologize here. We're having a full screen issue. My computer is not playing nice at this point in time. Resume game, settings. You actually can see what's happening here, I think. Display, borderless. Oh, I know what's happening. So we are...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we were basically what's happening is it was trying to use the 4K base resolution, even though we were rendering 25 by 14 DLSS. So we're going to turn DLSS off. We're going to go full screen. We're going to go to 25 by 14. Then we're going to turn DLSS back on, and I think this will work. It did work. Okay. We're going to just call it for what it is and keep playing the game. So as I was saying before, because the way the reflections work in this game, and that basically everything in all the environments has a reflection, you don't even realize that you're seeing things you take for granted every day in life. The simple reflections, the way things that shine off the floor, the little details, and the way that, an environment will reflect back in on itself. You see it every day.
I love how the reflection is different depending on the material. So a fluid will reflect differently than the floor. Absolutely, and that's because in these games, a lot of the ray tracing games, you are required to physically model all of the textures and materials in the environment, so that way the light knows how to interact with itself. I'm going to go ahead and quickly jump us to one area of the game that I spent maybe half an hour staring at, because it just looks so good. Metal and shiny reflections are really hard to get right. In the past, we've constantly seen cube maps or other cheats to get reflections to look correct, but we don't need to do that anymore because with real-time ray tracing, like even on the wood surfaces here, you're seeing that environment reflected back in a very soft, diffuse light. It looks amazing. So we're gonna run in this elevator. We're gonna go down into the maintenance area, and we are gonna take a look at possibly one of the most impressive sections of reflections I've ever seen in any game. I'm excited about this one.
I showed this to him a little bit earlier, and he wanted to see more. So first thing you're going to notice here, almost everything in this environment is reflective. The puddles on the floor are accurately reflecting what is on the scene. We've got ambient smoke here that's also filling up with light, and even the soft reflections on these non-reflective surfaces, the light is bouncing off of them just like you would see in real life. Now, we're going to come in here, see more puddle-based reflections, and that aligns directly with what you're seeing there. And as we move, the orientation of those reflections changes. It's not just a static cube map. We see more soft diffuse lighting and reflections off these objects as we run down this hallway. But what really blew my mind is when we came in this room. These look like simple metal pipes, I guess, like air ducts. But what kind of shocked me is that as I move around these pipes, the reflection and the lighting and the way that it interacts with this material changes accurately based on what you see. Now, what really shocked me was when I looked up. And you see these, I'm going to draw my cursor along it, the white glow on these reflections on these tubes normally is something sort of static, doesn't really move. But as we move and rotate around the room, the lighting changes and interacts with these materials and these objects accurately. And this is happening to almost everything in this environment. So even if it's not directly reflecting something, the lighting is still impacting the way that it looks. One of the other things I want to talk about, we touched on it a little bit, was transparent reflections. So as I come in this into this room, go through the door and make a left, you're going to see, we can still see through the glass. But as we angle the camera, you're going to see that I can see my reflection. And that's somewhat obstructing the view of the objects behind it, but you can still see the objects through my reflection, which is pretty incredible. So as we open the door, you can see the door opening. You can still see my reflection. As I walk away, it'll close. We've got full real-time reflections in ways that you've never seen before. And then what kind of blew me away too is that the reflections aren't all just the same. They're not flat, perfect things. They modeled this floor to have dips in it and to be somewhat uneven like a real polished concrete surface would be. And it's reflective of the reflections. You can actually see all that. We've got more glass here on our right. We can see through it, but we're getting the reflections from the windows and it's bouncing back in, and that's helping light this environment. I mean, if you haven't played Control, it's a fantastic game. The technology is incredible. It looks unbelievable. The narrative, I mean, I still don't know what's happening in this game. I'm 6 hours in. I have almost no idea what's happening. All I know is that I'm in charge of this facility at this point, and things keep happening that I can't explain. It's like X-Files. It's the unknown, and you get to explore your way through the game. They do a really good job of not only telling the story through what's happening, but also giving you context and exposition through additional written materials in the game, so you can learn more about the characters. And then even like here, there's some just ridiculous stuff here. They have you'll run into little research modules about different aspects of what they're studying. So they'll say objects of power are unique in their capacity to grant certain individuals paranatural abilities. So you're going to get a ton of context through a bunch of different types of material in the game. Just absolutely crazy X-Files style cutscenes that explain what's happening. The game's like 20 hours if you 100% it. So you can play through this game pretty quickly, 10, 15 hours if you really want to go deep. Highly recommend checking it out. I'm going to finish playing this game. It's been on the top of my 2 playlists, so I'm super excited about it. Anyway, if you want to pull us back to camera, I think we've taken a good look at Control. We've spent quite a bit of time covering a few different things today. I personally believe we were more focused than last time in terms of our topics. We went more in depth. We're running slightly shorter than last time by just a few minutes, so we're trying to tighten things up. I really appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions, suggestions, things that you want to learn about or see, drop us an email, send your partner manager a note, give us feedback in Knowledge. We absolutely want to hear what you have to say. I'm going to go ahead and close the game and then pull up a quick slide showing you where you can sign up for Knowledge if you're not already signed up for Knowledge. Hang on one second. I've almost got that slide up. And cancel display settings, switch. This is where you can learn about Knowledge. Go ahead and sign up. It's nvidia.com/knowledge. Click log in, make sure you select the company that you work for, and you'll get right in. We are going to be holding more live streams. We have monthly promotions and opportunities to win. We're constantly adding new content that's self-paced. You can learn at your own pace. You can learn about basically anything that you want when it comes to games, technology, or GeForce. And we're really just excited and happy to keep growing this platform. And once again, I want to thank you for your time today. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your afternoon, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.